We did it. We made it through first quarter, and hopefully we survive the rest of the 2020 school year. But I'm optimistic we will. Congratulations, folks. I'm proud of all of you. I'm even proud of myself, but that's no surprise. I'm always proud of myself because I'm a narcissist. You probably have noticed that I am not physically at school today. I am at home. I am taking care of my daughter. She's not feeling well and she had a fever. And we thought, it's probably not a good idea to send a child to school with a fever during COVID. Probably not that responsible. So I'm at home. So here's what you're going to do today. I wish I could be there today, especially for a day like this, because there's a lot going on. So I'll do my best to make sure that you get all of the information that you need to be successful. Okay, good news. You're not going to write any summaries for a while. You're welcome. You've already done 6. You're good. So let's go ahead and hop into the Canvas, go into Are We in a Race Against the Machine? Makes me want to listen to Rage Against the Machine. 7 and 8. You've got 4 options. You've got 4 articles. I had a nice time with you tonight on the app. This one, Jenna Wortham. She is not a researcher, but she's worked for New York Times Magazine for several years, and she's reported on science and technology for much of her career with the New York Times. And she is going to talk about her experiences with dating and apps and how they've actually enhanced her relationships. Now, this is just anecdotal evidence, which really isn't that strong, but she does buttress that up with a few sources you'll see here. So you can read this. Read this one. That's one of the options. It's not the strongest one, but it's okay. I love this one. I highly recommend you use this one. Whoa, why isn't that working? I'm gonna have to fix that link. By the time you get to it, it should be done. Ha! There it is. Got it. Okay, dating and relationships in the digital age. This was published May 8th, 2020. Pew Research is phenomenal. Pew Research Center. It's nonpartisan. Both Democrats love this. Republicans love this. I shouldn't say Democrats and Republicans. Fox News will go to Pew Research and they'll cite this stuff. New York Times, CNN, all that. Like it's reliable stuff across all the entire political spectrum. So distractions to jealousy, how Americans navigate cell phones and social media and their romantic partners. So Pew Research, they're always doing surveys, and that's what it is. And they're huge surveys, and they poll thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the United States. So with something like this, you need to know that you don't read this with a fine comb. Like, you do a lot of skimming, and when you read something like this, you skim, and when you see something that's interesting, you hone in on it, and then you go deep there. So this is their biggest findings, and this image on the right up at the top, those are the biggest findings of this survey. So read this. What I would do with something like this is I wouldn't really read it. I would skim it, look at all of the graphs. I would look at the graphs because that's going to communicate a lot of information very quickly. And then when you find something interesting here, then read around it. So like, okay, so younger social media sayers, they're especially likely to check up on their exes. Raise your hand if you have ever stalked your ex online to see if they were happy. No, you don't want your ex to be happy. You want your ex to be miserable. We all done that. We've all done it. Admit it. It's okay. And then we get sad when we find out they're happy. Anyway, so read some of these and see what they've got here. Like, once again, skim it. Look at all of the graphs, all of the charts, and when you find something interesting, read around it. Read the stuff around it. They got some really good information here that provides a lot of insights about technology and how people are using it in dating. Okay, so I'll fix that link. Next one, Siegel Samuels. Do you remember? I think it was Gene Twenge she was like, when I saw that people at a nursing home were given robots uh, to help them, I was very afraid. This person, it's Vox, is going to argue that that's actually a good thing, and she'll tell you a little bit more why. The ethical costs and benefits of the companion robot during the pandemic and beyond. So this is a more recent one, September 9th, 2020. You can get a robot to keep your lonely grandparents company. Should you? And she will go ahead and explain. And once again, I want you to see all of the research that she's like look at this. She's doing a little bit of research right here, and like this is a pretty good article. Yes, it's on Vox, but the reporting is fairly. It's fairly decent. I'm very happy with it. So there's that. You can look at that. The next one, same author, same publication. This one was published last year. You can beat anxiety with your phone. Samuel argues. Phones don't have to, they might contribute to anxiety and depression. The science is not quite solid on that. There's been correlation studies, not really causation studies. But here we're finding that some apps can actually reduce anxiety and help us with our mental health issues. So we've got that. So four articles. The one from the Times, not the best. I love the Pew Research one and the two from Vox. So I encourage you to go that way. Why am I even including the New York Times one then? If I don't like it, I should probably just get rid of it. Whatever. It's available to you. All right. So during class today, see if you can read two of those. And once you've read two of them, no summary, no connections, you're welcome. The light's coming in over, and look at this. It's casting harsh shadow. Stupid sun. I'm not going to re-record this. I got to finish this up and get home in the next half hour. So deal with the harsh shadows right here. When you're done, use the text entry box and write, I read the articles and now I'm enlightened, and we're good. Now, after that, our big writing starts for 1010. Okay, so now go into literature review 1, literature review outline. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I've told you yet, but I hate teaching English 1010 because it's freaking boring, and I'll tell you why. All we do is write summaries and then literature reviews. I didn't write literature reviews until I was a graduate student getting my master's degree. And I love that we do it here and we teach you how to be scholars. But writing is so much more than literature reviews. That being said, there is a lot of value to this. And when I talk to you next week, when I see you next week on Wednesday, Thursday, I will tell you more about why I love the ideas in this class and the habits of thinking in this class. But it's just, we should be writing more than just literature reviews in this class. Okay, so in this class, you're going to write 2 literature reviews. Literature review 1, literature review 2. The first one, I have given you all of the articles on. I've scaffolded it very heavily, and you've been working on it in the past since the beginning of the school year. It's going to be fairly simple, but it's one of the big assignments. Literature review 1 is 30% of your overall grade. Literature review 2 is 30% of your overall grade. And those are the big assignments that Weber State is having you do for this course. So I'm going to have the sub show you these 2 videos. I have scoured the dark corners of the interwebs to find these wonderful, enlightening, fun, production is fantastic videos of a community college guy, Greendale, Pop, and he is going to show you what a literature review is. I'll have the sub share this with you. Dang it, now the lighting has changed and the whole... the sun is messing up this video. Whatever. Okay, so I'll have the sub show those to you, but they're important. So I'm going to quickly go over this. What is a literature review? It surveys the literature in your chosen area of study. It synthesizes the information in the literature into a summary. It critically analyzes the information gathered by identifying gaps in current knowledge and presents the literature in an organized way. Key points to remember. These will make way more sense after you watch the videos. It is not a descriptive list. It is not an argument. It is not your argument. 1010 doesn't let us argue. You're not allowed to have your own opinion until 2010. Thanks, Weber State, for not trusting young people with their opinions. So it's not that. It's also not a book by book or article by article summary. And it is not a summary of every single thing that's ever been written on your topic, just the most important works. It must be defined by a guiding concept, essay, question, research. I'm going to recommend questions. Our friend in the videos will talk about that. It must tell the reader what knowledge and ideas have been established and agreed in your area and outline their strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so you'll watch these videos. But the second one is really important because he's going to tell you about organizational strategies. He's using it 4. I had them written on my board, but the janitor did. I think, well, let me see if I can just find them. Oh, yeah, right there. Okay, so I'll pause it right there. He recommends organizing your literature review chronologically by advancements or eras, by geographical, he'll explain that, or by guiding questions. If I were here in class, I'd have you struggle with these and ask, well, of all the literature we've read about technology, which one of these 4 do you think would be the best for technology? Hands down, it's going to be questions. Organize your literature review through questions, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And he does say this, and like this part's important. Like it's such a boring video, but it's very informative and it's very, very helpful. So I'll just get this out of the way right here. But he'll talk about this. Pay attention to how this is organized and how there's questions throughout and how it's answered. And then there's this, wait, whoa, where'd it go? Right there. Okay, this part right here, it's timestamp 341. This is very, very, very important. There's a question here, and in yellow, one scholar answers that question, and another one, in the green, another scholar answered that question, and in the red, another scholar answers that question. I highly recommend organizing your literature review with questions. So the goal for today in class is to read 2 of those 4 articles. Get it done before class, but get it done before 3 p.m. and get your crap done. And then you are going to write an outline. I really wish I could be here today to help you with this. I'm sorry, I can't. I blame my daughter. Okay, so I've got 2 templates for your outline, depending on which one works best for you. There's this one, that's a literature review outline. I found this one online. I think it's a little bit overwhelming, but some people really like this. This overwhelms me. I'm a little more minimalist, so click this one. I like this one. I created this one. This is the one that I would use, but to each his or her own. And this one works here. So you are going to write an outline for a literature review. We're going to start writing it next week, but today in class and throughout the week, you need to do your outline. Now, this is hard to do when I'm not here, and this video sucks, and I'm sorry. I'll bet you were missing my face. Okay, so here's what I would recommend for your literature review. Don't do the introduction yet. The introduction is it's interesting, and we'll talk about that. Literature review introductions are different. You've never done them before. They're easy, but they're different, and we have to talk about that. We'll talk about that next week when I'm in class. There is a thesis, but we'll talk about that next week in class. Don't worry about the introduction of the outline. Subtopic 1, 2, and 3. You can have as many subtopics as you want, but that's what we're going to do. If we're going to go back to this video right here, and our guy from University of Maryland, University College, Greendale, pop. Okay, so there are 4 questions here. You can have as many questions as you need, or as many subpoints as you want, but that's what we're going. I would recommend organizing your literature review like this student has done here. And we'll go back to this right here. Notice there's a question, and then 3 different scholars have answered it. All right. So if you choose a good organizational strategy for your literature review, it's easy. If you don't choose a good organizational strategy, it's really, really difficult. So you have to find which strategy works and why and how. So normally I would have you try your own strategy. You'd create it and then we'd workshop it later. But because of the hybrid schedule of 2020 and because I'm not here today, I'm just going to tell you how to write your outline. If I were doing it, this is what I would do. I would do questions, and I'm going to do questions that are narrow but broad. I know that's abstract, but here's what I would do. Okay, so when you write your questions, you have to think, all right, what questions can I ask that many of these scholars can answer? So the first one, I'm going to write how. So let's make this a little bit bigger so you can actually see it. How has technology affected the way people think? Woo! This is Mrs. Bockel. I am almost done. I'm making a video right now. Yeah. So, you can come grab one. They're in my fridge. They're in my fridge. Everyone say hi, Mrs. Bockel. Okay. 88 cents burritos at Walmart, and they have 800 calories. They're terribly disgusting. Okay, so what we can do with this question, a lot of scholars have weighed in on this. Nicholas Carr has weighed in on it. Turkle, Gladstone has done this. The next question I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to copy and paste this because we're going to use parallel structure. How has technology affected mental health? Spell that right? I don't know. No, I didn't. Thanks, Google. And then the last question that I would do to organize this is space without formatting. The way people, I don't like the wording of this right now, but affected, I'm just going to go relationships. It's not quite parallel structure. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I will fix that later. I do like how technology affected mental health. How has it affected relationships? How has it affected? I want like a short. I want to shorten this up, but essentially you get what I'm trying to say here, right? Okay. So what I like about these questions is this essay will be very easy. It's going to write itself if you do this. We have so many scholars who have weighed in on this. Like there's Carr, there's Gladstone, there's Twenge. Mental health, oh my goodness, almost all of the scholars have weighed in on that. And the articles I've given you today have weighed in on that. The one about Vox, the 2 from Vox and anxiety, Jean Twenge, Sherry Turkle, a lot of those people have weighed in on that. And finally, how has it affected our relationship, how we interact? Almost all of the articles have addressed that. So we have tons and tons and tons and tons of information. These 3 questions with this specific topic, it'll be a very, very, very easy essay to write, or a literature review to write. So here's what you're going to do. You don't have to use this organizational. You can do whatever one you want. You can organize it chronologically. I don't care. But you're going to have this one works, and students have been very successful with this setup in the past. So what you're going to do is now you're going to do this part of the outline right here. And you are going to comb through all of the research that we've read, and you're going to make an outline of how you would write this essay. Don't worry about the introduction. Don't worry about the conclusion. Just get these 3 points here. So when I see you next week, I want you to be able to come to class having read 2 of those 4 articles, and then having the body of your outline for your literature review ready to go. I will clarify more points about this. Sorry, this wasn't the best of it. But between this video and the guy from the University of Maryland University College, or we like to call Greendale, his videos and mine, you should get enough of it. So, homework over the week. 2 of the 4 articles and the outline. Some of you might be able to finish all this before you leave class today. Highly recommend that. Okay, folks, I will see you next week. This is Mr. Bockholt. Keep reading, keep learning.